Mm. I think the Ench is fine. Like you're against the Darkseer Clockwork and the Ember Spirit, right? Where the
Yeah.
Flame Guard is going to be a consideration as well. Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see the Ench. I feel like you're just going to be able to bully out quite nicely. Again, be kind of hard to kill. Look, the Clockwork is forced to go on the Shadow Demon in that sort of situation, whereas I feel like you can go on the Oracle or the Shadow Demon if they went down the Oracle path. Whereas Enchantress, Clockwork goes on you just pop the Nature's a tendency. You're not really that concerned.
I think why I'm putting emphasis on the support answer to the Dark series because if you move the Templar Assassin to the mid lane, which is a pretty favorable matchup, not I shouldn't say favorable. Apologies. I'd say it's like 55-45. It can go either way. It's pretty goddamn even. But Nigma.SEA, they pick the Ember because they know really well how to counter the TA if it's in the mid lane. And now having the Darkseer, it's a really good matchup as well against the TA in the safe lane. So they've got good matchups no matter what, core to core in the laning phase. And now this is why I'm looking kind of for their menu ping answer to the Darkseer. And I was also maybe tossing up if you could like throw the Tide as a support and go back into GY as Brewmaster just to have that AoE purge, but it just feels super greedy. And so they are going to do it. So they put the TA mid, they go for the core answer instead, which... Oof. Do you like it?
I'm not a huge fan of Juggernaut in general. That's my main concern. They do still have, of course,
10 seconds remaining.
very good team fight and very good objective taking is probably the biggest
5 seconds remaining.
success that I see out of this Ragdoll draft, right? Like you could just even siege with a Shadow Demon, disrupt a friendly unit, send them forward. And you've got the healing ward you can place behind you if they look to engage on you. Tidehunter comes in with a big Ravage. So, and as of right now, they have no real like amazing way to deal with that kind of push, right? Like an Ember Spirit, sure, once he gets the Maelstrom, can use the Sleight of Fist, you get the procs off. Darkseer, it's a lot slower, right? And you can just burst down whatever Ion Shell creep there is with a Meld Strike or something like that. I really want to see Nigma.SEA go something that is able to sit on the backlines and be able to de-push a little bit. That's why I really like the fact that they've gotten rid of the Medusa already on Ragdoll.
Radiant team ban.
Is this a potential Drow that they
So
could
you
be
want
going
you
for?
want like a range pick for Radiant actually?
I do, yeah.
Does that like kind of take away of the synergy with the Darkseer melee one? Because I'm always a big fan of having someone that you can Iron Shell and surge into the fight.
10 seconds.
I mean, I feel like you can just do that with Ember Spirit. You can use the
Okay.
surge for yourself just to make sure you're getting the big
5
value out of the
seconds
normal
remaining.
punch as well. I just feel like they have no way of stopping a lot of this push outside of the Ember Spirit, right? So, and it was the same sort of issue that they had in game number one. You had a Kunkka that was the thing that was supposed to be enabling you to push up into towers. They didn't even take tier 1 mid at the end of game one on Nigma.SEA, and that was a 38-minute game, I think. So, just goes to show how much you do need to enable your ability to transition into the late game
10
because
seconds
their pickoff's
remaining.
good, their lanes are pretty good. It's just a question of who is
Radiant
able to
team
pair
pick.
together with this. I mean, I like the fact that they've gotten rid of the Terrorblade. The Medusa is gone. I feel like Drow is basically the only solution. I mean,
Can you drow with the
Wait, who?
Lion lane though? I don't know if you can do that. That seems like double range is just going to be penalized pretty heavily with
10
Ragdoll's
seconds
last pick
remaining.
as a 4 or 5.
is it though?
5
I mean, I feel like that's what they're
remaining.
looking to ban out to make sure that it's not actually as big of a deal.
Yeah.
And Tidehunter, if you're coming up as a ranged hero, you're totally fine with that. Just being able to harass him out from afar. And I mean, I'm thinking, what could we look to see here from either James or Menu Ping? Again, they need something that's going to be able to get in onto Nigma.SEA's backlines because they've got nothing right now. They're very good at just standing and pushing as a ball, but they're not good at being able to break up their fight into several different elements. So
Dire team pick.
Nigma.SEA, I want to see a ranged hero. It'll do. Yeah, Luna's fine.
It's not a good matchup versus the Jug though. 2 heroes to get on top of the Luna with ease. Jug's been a good matchup through the entirety of Dota. So he's going to have a good lane. Now a good carry to carry the matchup.
The Luna's a good
10
lane into the
seconds
Tidehunter, though.
remaining.
You're able
Yep.
to bully him out a little bit, especially with some of
5
the magic
seconds
damage coming out from the
remaining.
Lion. Pretty good right click coming through from him.
It's an agi hero too as well against a lot of the, gush minus armor that TA is going to provide. You're into a Shadow Demon. I think you've gone back on comfort. Like that's really what I look at Nigma.SEA's lineup, and I'm like,
Select your heroes.
what do we have left for In Your Dream? They love the
I like
Luna.
this.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Penguin. I don't like the
It is
Jug,
a
but
Oh, I really like this now, actually, because you've got a menu ping Tide Hunter. Actually, it's GY playing the Pangolier. So I said the Luna is great at being able to go into the Tide Hunter. So what do? They just don't. They change things up a little bit. They make sure that you've got a Tide Hunter Juggernaut. I mean, it's a tiny bit of a kill lane, I suppose, if you're out of position once. You know, gush into spin. It's an alright amount of damage. But yeah, this Pangolier probably would have been even more effective if they went down that route of the Drow Ranger, like I was suggesting. But yeah, I kind of like Ragdoll's draft again, but I want to hear from you first this time, Aries, because I put my balls on the line in game number 1, and you still got it wrong. So what do you think?
yeah, but you didn't give me shit. You didn't give me no information. You just said a team, and I had to just.
A competition is a competition. I said the team
Understandable.
first.
I understand. I don't like the Juggernaut hero, and I feel like this lane's going to. I know you were saying a lot about the Gush Blade Fury being a lot of damage potential, but I think you can just surge away. So I don't think they get kills in that lane, but I feel like VT Faded's going to free farm, which is going to be very difficult for Mizu, and then you're going to be playing off the back of the Ember Spirit plus Iron Shell to catch back up. I think the way to look for how Nigma.SEA win this game is if they can. They have to absolutely destroy TA mid. Like, it's a pretty greedy draft from Ragdoll. If they fall behind and they infiltrate and their jungle gets infiltrated early, then I'm worried for them. But if that doesn't happen, then I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm still trying to make my mind up. So if you can, if you could do the, no, I know you're not going to do that for me. I got to decide.
I can explain a little bit. I'm not going to say
sure.
who I'm picking until you do.
Okay, sure.
So I feel like this is going to come down to the level 2 on Nigma.SEA's offlane. Mizu and Jokam, if they can get the Battery Assault and the Cogs, they have the potential to kill this Tide Hunter and, you know, obviously get the experience and gold off of that. You don't have any stun on this Ragdoll lane as well, so Jokam, kind of similar to what we saw him do in that game that we just saw, is going to be able to pull the creep wave uncontested, right? So all you want is this Darkseer hitting like level 3, level 4, and then you can actually look to make some of these rotations. You might not be level 6, but you can still make a lot happen to do things like make sure that there's no stacks, because you're coming up against a Shadow Demon, right? You know there's going to be stacks built up on Ragdoll's side of the map. They're on Dire as well, right? So you need to make sure you're contesting that. You need to make sure you have the information about that, and you need to make sure you're stealing that away.
Look, I'm gonna go Radiant because the last time I saw them play Ember vs TA mid, they knew exactly what they needed to do, and I feel like they have supports to make rotations early, put the TA into the jungle, and even when she's in the jungle, then continue to chase her down. And I don't think Ragdoll with a Tide Shadow Demon are able to bring the supports over to really do much. So that's the only reason why I'm going to go Nigma.SEA. I do not like at all this Luna pick. I think into the Juggernaut, it's a very bad matchup. But we'll see how the lane's going to go. They've got a lot of spam from afar, like Earth Spike into Beam. But yeah, I'm just edge Radiant. Also, because I'm a little bit biased, I won a second game. I won a third game. So yeah, I've given a prediction. Yeah, let's see. What is it?
In Your Dream, Luna is a little bit of a meme as well. You know, there's been a couple of times where he's played the Luna and the game hasn't turned out that well for them. You know, the safe and little bit of a weak thing to do would be to just go with whatever pick you say, just so that I can never lose.
Okay.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say Ragdoll.
All right, let's go. So we have the opportunity here. If we go to a game 3, then we've got an opportunity to also be on a tiebreaker for us. Predictions still on the line.
By 2.
I mean, that'd be kind of devastating. But then it just sets us up for an even better second tour to see if I can maybe come back or not. But for Ragdoll, 1 game away of making it to Division 1 for the next season's tour. And for Nigma.SEA, looking to try and push it to that game 3. It has to be said as well, GY on one of his probably top 3 heroes on the Pangolier, something we don't see as much anymore unless it's that, you know, high caliber stable hero for one of the players, and definitely GY thrives on the Pango.
They have nothing that's able to stop it as well, which is a big deal.
Line's not bad actually. Like, I think it is a position 5 line.
Once you're rolling.
Yeah.
Once you're rolling.
Okay,
I mean,
sure.
What are you going to do to be able to stop that? hook shot, 1 second. You know, like other than that, there's nothing.
Yeah, you're a big fan of like any BKB piercing answers. I know the Wyvern's always been that factor. You know, Grimstroke, Bloodseeker, like we saw through some of the Pro Series. So now it's just going to be the answer on how Radiant can jump and look to burst him down.
For sure, yeah. But it does need... The onus is on them to make moves on Nigma.SEA. If you sit back and you let Ragdoll do whatever they want, they're going to win this game.
Yeah, we saw in game there wasn't a lot of emphasis on infiltrating the jungle and just blocking up the Templar Assassins Ancients. Do you feel like there's going to be a complete different emphasis from NGX.SEA in this game?
I think they have to. You know, they've had a good start to it. They've already got the Observer Ward down there, so I mean, that's going to give a nice little injection of golden experience for sure. But for now, at least TA is not going to have a few of those built up. I don't think Yif has even stacked anything so far. Just wanting to prioritize making sure that GY is not going to fall down with the long cooldowns on the Swashbuckle and Shield Crash if he leaves them on his own. And conversely, we're starting to get a couple of stacks built up here. It's just the hard camp for the Clockwork, really just wanting to enable Mizu to rotate back to those camps and get some of that little bit of extra farm once he does eventually try and make that rotation towards the mid lane.
Bottom lane. Damage starting to stack up. They're diving in your dream. Up to 4 poisons, but stick to play with on in your dream. One more might be enough to secure the kill, and it is, as Yif picks up first blood.
Looking to go into a bottle, perhaps, on GY. He's got it queued up. Already got the TA. Looking to get that one there. He's a little short on mana, though. You know, you obviously have a lot of abilities to be able to kill in this lane, especially now that they've got level 3. But he's running a little short on mana, so I wonder if are there multiple clarities? Yeah, there's 2 clarities coming out for the Shadow Demon, so all good.
Looks like mid lane, though, at least is the best lane for Nigma.SEA at the moment. Alacrity, even in regards to the last hits, but you know, Mizu's having a rough time. In Your Dream's having a rough time as well.
Jackpot.
I feel like they just... they tried to man-fight into this Tidehunter. He's got 2 points in the Gush, nothing in Kraken Shell just yet, but you can't really look to fight into him just yet. You know, the stacks have been given a little bit more priority, and you are going to catch up on Mizu in particular when he looks to take this this camp here inside the Radiant Triangle. I feel like it is him that you'd give it over to, because the earlier you're able to come online, they have nothing outside of the Shadow Demon that's going to get rid of the Flame Guard and like an Aghanim Scepter Ion Shell. But if you can get that up, you're going to enable Alacrity so much and give In Your Dream the space to be able to farm.
I think this is one thing I overlooked as well from Nigma.SEA supports, how I was saying they're going to look to make early rotations to Alacrity's lane and just bring down the Templar Assassin over and over again, and you know, with that catapult timing, do a little bit of damage on the tower. They can't really do that because of how the side lanes are going super poorly, because they don't have these favorable matchups. Like it's a Darkseer versus a Juggernaut, which is very Juggernaut favored, and then we've already seen how well bottom's gone for Ragdoll to start.
Yeah, I feel like you're never going to outright win this lane against the Juggernaut on the top side. He's going to farm regardless. It's just a question of, are you going to be able to kill the Tidehunter while he tries to harass you and stop you from farming? And well, unfortunately for Nigma.SEA, they haven't really done too much to avoid that. I don't think I've seen Yokam do a single pull to be able to allow Mizu to farm. But at least he's been able to get this stack up, so you can see that Mizu's farm is going to go up now with this camp looking to be taken. There was a little bit of a roam done there by Yokam as well, just wanting to see if there were any stacks.
Yeah, Citrus actually might be in trouble. They've already got him rid of the refraction. Alacrity doesn't have the Flame Guard to protect him for this skirmish as well, so he's going to have to reposition himself. And now it's Ragdoll that can put the pressure on as they'll chase down Yokam to the top of the stairs. Alacrity's still going to be pretty cautious as well. Doesn't get too much distance away. 2 poison stacks is not going to be enough to secure with a kill, so it's Ragdoll coming ahead there in the little brawl.
Nicely done, nicely done. A lot of these early rotations, I mean, if you're not dominating the early game as a Clockwork, you basically don't have a game. You know, Clockwork isn't one of those greatest heroes. As soon as a Shadow Demon has a 4-staff, even your role that I was mentioning I really liked, they've just gone about it a different way in being able to get in onto these heroes that the Ember Spirit just can't. Like, you don't want to go an Orchid on an Ember Spirit to be able to kill a Shadow Demon, because then the rest of your game is just gimped, basically. So if this game goes poorly at the start for the Clockwork, you're not able to get those items, you're not able to get those levels that you need to get it onto the Shadow Demon, and he can build his own 4-star, it's going to be rough for you. Austin's going to do his best to try and deny himself here. Maybe.
Maybe not, just run all the way through. There's another close encounter, almost getting clapped by the tomato creep there. But another kill for Ragdoll, up to 3 now. Very minimal net worth lead. Haven't really seen the stack start to be formulated for Citrus in the jungle, but it looks like they'll give some time now to menu ping to get some solo experience mid. Alacrity is gonna try and push him back and make sure, this is not a free lane to come to. You're gonna be more cautious if you're sticking around like that.
For sure. I mean, at least it's the supports putting their bodies there on the front lines, making sure that they're the ones being picked off by a lot of this. Alacrity does end up getting away. And is GY in a little bit of trouble here?
I might turn it back around, in fact, yeah. Got the Roland Thada to play with, the Crystal as well, and the outskirts to bounce back to. They're going to look to target down In Your Dream with that last use of the stun. He'll bounce back, beautifully played, GY. He just knows how to position himself with the Thunder in any of these side lanes, and getting 2 kills with that first use is exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, I will give GY props, but In Your Dream did not need to just continue standing there. Like, he, for whatever reason, tried to fight and get the kill on the Shadow Demon. If he just walks back a tiny bit, he's underneath that tower and he doesn't die. So that's going to lead to this bottom tower going down, and Ragdoll really looking to cement their stamp on this game so far.
We see VT Faded too is going to be working into the Maelstrom. Do you feel like this is just the build now? That Battle Fury is a little bit too costly. Like we see if you queue this item up, it forces you to not really have too much impact through the early stages.
I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's just could be a personal preference sort of thing. Also, it's nice to just have that little bit of extra magic damage to be able to get through the Flame Guard in a lot of these team fights. So, yeah, it might just be a personal thing that he's going for here. Because there's no, like, massive counters that he's going to be getting with the use of the Maelstrom instead.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Alacrity. Let's see what we can run into at the moment. Radiant already losing this tier 1 tower down bottom. They will at least be able to even up the objectives within your dreams, securing the top side. And how do we want to see Radiant look to play the map now? Are they going to be a little bit more on the back foot, trying to find farm, or do we still really want to see them invade?
Faded is, don't give him a target Omni Splash. Well, that's a little bit keen. Probably don't want to be diving a tier 2 tower at 9.5 minutes.
Never refuse good.
Alright, well that's a good way to give them a way back into this early stage, as Polisson will go down to the top outpost here as Ragdoll bring 3 to cut down the line. This will give In Your Dream the opportunity to reset and make his way back to the triangle. They have run into the Templar Assassin though. Citrus is in trouble. No refraction charges to play with, and GY a little bit too late. He's still going to get involved. Bounces back onto the Clockwork. It's not that value target of the Ember though, but at least they find some consolation prize.
Alright, so if Nigma.SEA win this game, it's going to be Yokem that's done it, because that is the position 1 and the position 2 in a greedy lineup that his involvement killed, basically. Like, the Juggernaut would have died previously, even without the Darkseer there. Mizu just came to soak up some of that juicy experience, and the creep wave was underneath the tower anyway, so this Clockwork is doing a lot. Even though he didn't have the greatest start to the game, and he might be 1, 2, and 1, he's doing the best with what he's got so far, and making it work.
I know you're a big fan of the Clockwork hero overall. Is this one where we could see his impact shine, maybe in regards to how you can deal with the supports and take them away at the start of the fights?
Yeah, of course, that's what they drafted him for, right? He's enabled by the Iron Shell, of course. And if you're able to get the Shadow Demon to use the Demonic Purge onto you just so that he's not dying from a Battery Assault Cogs combo with Iron Shell, it's a pretty big win. It's going to enable the Ember Spirit to, of course, have a lot more sustained impact in a lot of these team fights. It means that you're still going to have the ability to surge around a lot of these heroes in the team fights, which is, of course, amazing. So yeah, I think a lot of Nigma's success is going to be on the back of Yokem here.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like Ragdoll, they're going to play into the hands of how their AoE team fight can enable them to find these quick 1 second kill and then start to chase down heroes there with the numbers advantage. But if they're not able to find kills off the back of the Ravage, off the back of the Rolling Thunder use, then Radiant being able to reposition and they're not as reliant on these bigger cooldowns. So it's all going to come down to how they can get these side of the fights.
Best to try and push this mid lane in a little bit, but again, without the Luna, you don't take towers at all. Like, an Ember Spirit doesn't want to be just there hitting a tower. The one situation where that feels comfortable is when you've already won a team fight. So I feel like Alacrity either needs to start prioritizing himself to kind of do what he's doing, cut the wave a little bit, let the creeps do the job, or just farm it out and then look to join together with the rest of the team. Once they get their key items here, we can see Paulison, Yokam, they're looking to come together. I wonder if this is for a smoke, and it is.
VT faded.
Just short of the urn, though. So not going to have that.
Faded's in trouble. Yokam's going to try and line up the hook shot. Paulison's got the level 6 too, but we were seeing the praise of the clockwork, and this initiation's off the mark.
I mean, it relies on a lot, right? Because you obviously kind of need the hook shot to even get that engagement. But if you mess up your stun combination at all, you just get away, right? Spin TP. There's nothing that's going to be able to stop you. So I was kind of thinking that since they had the Observer Ward here on the high ground, they might have been able to just get the Lion to be the one actually making the initiation in. And then if he tries to TP away, then...
Alacrity's the target. Gonna try and set up with the Purge. Alacrity, if he can get the Remnant up to the high ground, he's now got extra room to play with to reset away from GY. They've dropped the wall. Now with the Only Shash on the outskirts, Yokam with the first death to start the fight, but it looks like Nigma.SEA still gonna try and find an angle in to get a rebuttal. But Dire doing a good job to ball up and reset together.
Jug, Omni Slash, straight back to farming. They've gone this greedy draft again. If it goes late, they're going to be feeling very confident. So any kind of free kill that you're able to obtain is a big one.
All right, we've seen Alacrity go absolutely boss mode on this Ember. He's 1-0 at the moment, second in net worth. He's got the Maelstrom to be that amplification in his net worth, and they don't really have the greatest answer to him. Purge is great and all. GY is probably going to have to itemize for the stun lock with the blink maybe into yours or Aghanim Shard next. So how can we see Alacrity look to just enable his game? Like, is there one defensive item that he really needs?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm kind of... If it goes incredibly
Alacrity?
Actually,
You have solo Ravage from menu ping. Alacrity's just going to look for the TP out. They won't have an answer. The damage is off the mark, and this time bottom, they will be able to bring down VT Faded. It was the same duo, or I should say same trio making that move, and the Finger of Death Burst is plenty to get rid of the Jug.
I think with Alacrity, early on, he is... Obviously, it's hard to be able to pick him off, like we just saw there. Even with the Ravage, they're not able to burst him down. So it's going to be on the back of GY, and of course, like a big ultimate or TA being right in position to be able to kill him. But even though you have a pretty easy early to mid game, I don't think you can do all that much with it. For me, if it gets super late, if he's level 25 and he's able to get this Aghanim Scepter refresher, then he becomes a threat again. It's just getting to that stage, and then, of course, you've still got a TA and a Juggernaut to deal with if you get that late into things.
We do see Jug. VT Faded 2-2 at the moment. His farm is mirroring the Luna, who we haven't really seen get involved so far on In Your Dream. Middle lane, once again, they're making an attempt on the Ember. Do so much damage to Alacrity.
Even Demonic Purge. Force him back though. Just trying to have a look around and see what Clockwork's doing in addition to the Dark Seer. It feels like he's playing a little bit of that babysit role, and the important thing for Nigma.SEA right now is that Mizu gets that Aghanim Scepter, because it just buffs up your damage by an incredible amount. You've got prioritizing a little bit more of that mana as Paulison goes down. I mean, that's just a scouting one to see if, I believe that interrupted a smoke attempt as well. There were 3 heroes clumped up there on Ragdoll's side, so it's a good death to be able to get on this line, of course, and anytime, you know, you mentioned that we haven't really touched on it in your dream. If you're in your dream, you're totally happy with that. If the focus is not on you, it means you're farming at a faster rate than the enemy team. Like, not a single point into Eclipse. He doesn't want to be a part of any of these team fights.
Yeah, Alacrity, again, has to sing his praises with how he's been playing, just really up in the face, giving space to Mizu, because, I mean, Mizu did go boots of travel. That's something we haven't even spoken about. The fact that he went this before the Aghanims. Luna's been free farming across the map, working on the BKB, and this is really all onto the back of Alacrity making those plays and just shoving in the mid lane, and also occasionally Nigma.SEA making a smoke maneuver down bot to bring down VT Fader. So they have at least stalled the game out long enough for their item timings, and this is probably where we're going to see their kind of first real big smoke for a skirmish.
Yeah, for sure. It needs to come in this next little bit, right? Clockwork needs to get in on top of this Shadow Demon and kill him over and over, so that, not that he never gets the 4-staff, he's going to get the 4-staff, but you just want to make sure he's not part of these team fights so that you get the effect of that Ion Shell on the Ember Spirit, and he's able to do work in this early game. I think he's got a Kaya coming out to him already on the Ember. Got to make sure that the courier doesn't reveal it.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
Gonna be in position to pop the smoke. Dyra instantly TPing in the area, Polison. That is to be late with the Earthspike connection, and even better Cogs positioning will keep menu ping trapped on the higher ground, but the follow-up burst is there. Multiple ultimates committed to try and control Alacrity, but just gets out of the range of the Ravage. And now Radiant, they feel powerful to be able to move on forward as 4. Vacuum off the mark for the follow-up Earthspike once again. Alacrity, who else can he find here? So, bit of misexecution from either side. A 1-for-1 is all we get.
That's a kind way of putting it. There was, you know, Earthspike missed twice. Just not the communication there. Of course, it's a very high-stakes scenario. These players are stressed. They don't want to be, you know, having a very successful season only to not make it into Division 1 at the end of it all just because of some tiebreaker. So the vacuum was used for the second miss on the wall there, and I mean, I still feel like you're pretty okay with that on Nigma.SEA. You had the Rolling Thunder and the Ravage expended to be able to take that. They even used the Omni Slash, so I feel like you could just look to ball up and go again.
Oh,
it sucks that you're not going to have Wall of Replica, but he should be fine. Oh, especially now that there's no Demonic Purge. Absolutely, they need to make a play right now. You cannot let Shadow Demon continue to farm and get that 4-staff.
You surprised at how this net worth lead is actually in favoring of Radiant? Because with how we've seen across the map, even though Ragdoll, they've got this 5-kill advantage, towers are even, it just feels like somehow it's always Radiant edging the farm, you know, the farming prowess victory, I should say.
It's been off the back of In Your Dream's position. As I say that, he might be about to die from a gank, but he's just been putting himself in kind of risky positions and then backing out at just the right time. He's constantly looking at that mini-map, making sure that he's not in too dangerous of a position. They know where he is, though, with this TA trap and the Observer Ward actually in the lane. They don't quite have the Omni Slash, though, so I don't think they'll be able to take him out here.
Multiple heroes did show down bottom, though, so Dream's going to be pretty cautious. I mean, you might still be forced to just BKB TPR. That's really not what you want to use your 9-second charge for.
I mean, I was very sick of my praises of Ragdoll as well. All they needed to do was wait another 5 seconds, and that Luna uses BKB
Mid lane Alacrity. They might catch him off guard here with the chain control. GY reveals the blink. Straight onto the Ember. Great use of the wall bounce from GY, and this might lead into Roshan now. You got a big window with no Ember.
Radiant's top tower.
No Ember, Ravage is back up as well on the Tide Hunter. He's not there, he doesn't have a TP either, so he's not going to be able to instantly get there for the use of the Gush. So it's going to be a little bit of a slower Roche attempt, and wasn't lucky with the lucky shot.
Oh, they're coming. Radiant fight really well around the pit. Mizu's got a Blink Dagger as well to look to reveal. Stun back onto 2, but the Earthspike a little bit late. So Citrus has had the opportunity to get the BKB off, and Dire, they've only been tickled. All their magic immunity through the roof, and I don't know if Radiant can stick around afterwards for the second skirmish. Yes, you've got Ember up in a couple of seconds, but Roche is about to fall, so someone needs to jump in the pit, and GY is going to prevent that. Cancels the blink on Mizu, so Citrus will find the Aegis, and now Polison is going to be the target of the Omni Slash. VT Faded looking for more, but the extra follow-up's not there, and now he's going to be cautious. Blade Fury Still at the ready, so VT faded. He's out to safety.
Things going from good to better for Ragdoll. Their greedy draft. I mean, Nigma have been playing greedy, but I feel like even though it's been able to cause the net worth to stay relatively even, you're happy with Ragdoll, right? Because you've got much stronger Roche taker potential. I think this is probably one of the weakest Roche taking lineups I've seen in a long time on Nigma.SEA. So anytime that they take a successful team fight, they're just super easily able to transition into it. They didn't need to use the Ravage that time around. And of course, a TA, a Tide, and a Juggernaut, 3 heroes that love to farm. And you know, even if it's a position 5, you're just enabling him so much. So even though GY's farm might be suffering a little bit, he's sitting at the bottom of all the cores, it's fine because you've got these other heroes that are using the space so much more effectively.
It definitely feels like he has that one item that he needs, though. Just a blink to start fights that they were lacking previously. And now you have the capability. Of course, it does depend on the area where they take the skirmish, but if you're near a wall, a rock, crystal, whatever it be, if you can bounce back and maybe at least stun the Ember twice or the Lunar, Darkseer, whatever you be, they do have a lot of quick burst potential on dying to get rid of that hero.
For sure. And with the Ember Spirit, he's going into the Kaya and Sanj. I get it. It feels like they need a lot of this damage to really put themselves on the front foot in a lot of these engagements. But without having that BKB, honestly, even with having a BKB on the Ember Spirit, it's going to be quite difficult to be able to take these fights because with that big Blink Dagger on the Tide Hunter, all you need to do is blink right on top of him, Ravage. Like you said, they've got all of that burst potential. So it just creates so much of a smaller window of error that Nigma.SEA have, right? Because you could probably turn that fight around if Mizu's completely out of the fight and is able to blink in after the Ravage and then get like a Vac wall off or something like that. But it's so difficult to be able to do that. And I feel like with Nigma.SEA, I'm just talking about a lot of ifs and maybes and then, you know, and then. Whereas Ragdoll, it feels like they're pretty standard what they want to do.
And they got their timings now. Blink as well coming out for the Tide Hunter, Ravage at the ready. Still not level 2 Ravage, which you would love for this fight. UI is going to look to start. Holison will be in a position to pop the smoke though. But the best, target at least to run into GY to give Alacrity the recognition of Ragdoll kind of stalking the area.
Nice rocket there. Menu Ping was really patient. He was making sure not to join that fight, of course, to be able to burst down a Lion. The Gush would have helped, but he just wanted to make sure that if Alacrity put even a step in the wrong position, he would have got that instant knockdown.
Citrus, Jesus.
He's considering it.
Yeah, he's going to do it. And that's deep under the T2 tower. Citrus is pushing on forward as well with a haste, but it's executed start for Ragdoll.
You heard of Where's Wally? It's Where's Alacrity right now. That's what they're trying to find because he is the only one that's going to stop these pushes.
Top tower is under attack.
Okay, so I was speaking about before that I'm not a huge fan of the Luna matchup into the Juggernaut. What's your read on this? Because it looks like they are giving a lot of space for In Your Dream to be that condition this game. Do you feel like do you feel like it's going to be the Luna performance we see, or is it still a little bit grim?
I feel like it just came down to the fact that there wasn't much left, you know, and it was either Luna or Drow that was going to be effective, and if they Drowed, they would have been pretty destroyed this game just by the Pango last pick that they ended up going on Ragdoll anyway. So I feel like it's at least a little tankier. It gives you that sieging potential. So yeah, I feel like of course it is Juggernaut favored, but they didn't have much other option.
Middle tower is under attack.
You see what Ragdoll could do in game 1 with the Aegis advantage. It's very methodical. All these outer towers starting to be claimed. And they've still got 2 minutes left to work with as well. So they might just look to force back Nigma.SEA to get them out of the map and hold up inside their base to continue to grow this lead.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Mizu,
Not a good situation.
he's trying to find the angle. They drop the wall. Where's the follow-up afterwards? If we're going to punch him further inside the base, the first life still not taken care of thanks to the use of the BKB, and even In Your Dream is going to charge up the Eclipse. Now they kill off the Tide Hunter before the Ravage. It's an exceptional fight here for Nigma.SEA as they finally hit back. Finding 2. They can now look for more, but Ragdoll already out of the vicinity.
And Mizu and high ground engagements. Name a more perfect combination. Like, he set up that fight for success, taking out a TA with all of his spells down to 20%, just on his own, you know? So I feel like maybe that's going to put a little bit of question in the mind of this TA.
They're not going to run into maybe GY instead. Are they going to dive deep? They know they have the numbers advantage. An incredible Earth Spike onto 2. They'll look to get rid of the Shadow Demon, the defensive factor. But at least it gives VT Faded an opportunity to reposition to the safety of the high ground.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Things going a little better for them now. With VT Faded as well. He's going into this this build with the Skadi. Of course, it's going to be very effective against the Luna in particular. Even with that BKB being popped, you're going to be able to have the effectiveness of the slow. And I don't hate him going the Shard as well after that, just because it gives you that increased movement speed. You probably, after that engagement in particular, want to be a lot more of that frontliner that's just looking to spin.
Can they burst him? What a timing with the Ravage just after the slide. But Alacri's in and out. The damage from TA still a bit lacking. That's Ravage now on cooldown and a big kill onto the Pangolier. Nigma.SEA starting to build some momentum.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
The copium, it's working. I can see you, chat.
I'm out here. I got the copium right next to me. You're going crazy right now. I know you're shaking your boots.
I could have done the weak thing. Don't you start taunting me. I did the right thing.
Well, okay, but were you going to go Nigma.SEA if I didn't say them?
Probably not, to be honest.
Okay. Well, don't say that then. You're trying to put yourself on a pedestal here like you've done something.
I'm just too honest. I'm too honest. I could have just said yes.
Alright, rating. T2 tower them to claim, and well, now they're able to mirror the outpost control as well. 3,000 net worth lead. Experience heavily in their favor too, which is really going to help out with a lot of the spell damage that comes out.
I think the key for mine is that obviously that team fight bottom in particular went disastrous for them. They can just change the way that they take these fights though, right? Like, I kind of want to see the Juggernaut go into... does he need a Manta? Probably not, actually. But just have them do what they're doing right now. You know, Shadow Demon, make those illusions, use that to push lanes, use that to push towers, use the spin. Just a lot more of a slow skirmish, and then look to counter-initiate with the Tide Hunter. Oof.
I think that is definitely the one thing that Ragdoll have in the arsenal, where you can have GY start the fight and then wait for Radiant or to clump up like defensively to set a formation to deal with the Rolling Thunder, and then Tide can look to jump in. Then you've got the fault with everyone else. Radiant, they've got kind of similar ways, you know, almost 4 ways really to start the fights. But it's just, how can you yourselves get Ragdoll to clump up for this big vac into wall?
Dire are scanning.
They're going for a smoke. They're trying to find someone, and Paulson, he's in position to be able to pop it.
Cam as well.
Top tower is under attack.
Just gonna get scouted.
Radiant's middle
Poor
tower
VT
is
faded,
under
and
attack.
that should now give them the information that they're making an aggressive move.
He backs out at the exact same time. What position can they come? Again, like,
They want to take the
he's just playing
fight.
incredibly well.
Radiant got a really good word to the northern side of this triangle. Now that's taken care of. Mizu tries to cliff him. It's not going to be on the mark. Another jump in. Menu Ping is being able to catch out the Darkseer, but they don't have the burst to bring him down. A 2-for-2 start to the fight, but In Your Dream needs some assistance. They're on top of the Luna, but there's no extra damage at the moment. Luna's been able to reposition out to the south, and Alacrity's got the follow-up damage. They need the extra assistance. The Templar Assassin with GY. They don't want to go up against the TA though. Citrus, so much damage to deal with.
Still such an even game though, right? Like, Tide Hunter, you don't really care if you go down as long as you're able to land that Ravage. And it was another good one that they were able to get. Such these incredibly minor plays, right? Like, if he doesn't get that spin-off, he gets cliffed, the fight is completely Nigma Galaxies. But just that fast on the use of the Blade Fury. How much do you know about Blast Rig interactions?
Not a lot.
Because I'm kind of wondering if... it's kind of a specific thing to ask about, right? But I wonder what the interaction is if you were to put it onto like the TA, for example, and then you can actually put yourself onto the front lines because like Darkseer runs at you, right? The normal punch would work, like the initial hit still works, but how delayed is the spawn of the illusion? Would that be blinded to miss 100% of the attacks after the fact? Because I feel like it's Citrus killing Citrus. It's not Darkseer killing Citrus, if that makes sense.
Yep. And I think this is the nice thing about this early pickup here for Mizu. We see that extra just little bit of control as well and how we can almost reposition someone even further.
So he's going into the Daedalus, obviously very heavy priority on being able to burst down someone like this Luna in particular. But I wonder, after he's finished that, what his item priority is going to be. For me, it just needs to be a lot more sustain and survivability because, again, the stronger you get, the quicker you die against a Darkseer. So I feel like just if he wants to go something that's going to give him stats, it's unfortunate that the Skadi is already built up on the Juggernaut. I just want to see something. Even, I don't know, an Ags might not be terrible for Citrus to be able to build up here, just for the pure stat potential.
We've been seeing yeah, I mean, In Your Dreams got the Satanic queued up at the moment after the Skadi, so an exceptional item to deal through the the Blade Fury aspect of the Jug, and also just against the range here on the Templar Assassin as well, because they're going to be very heavy committal. Once you get in, if you're slowed up once with a Skadi, then Radiant can reposition. It's a similar movement though from Ragdoll.
Got to be careful about using it with the Demonic Purge though on the Shadow Demon. Most of the time he's using it onto the Ember Spirit, but we'll see. Okay, I'm just doing another good job putting his body there on the front lines. He's gone very tanky. Ghost Scepter. Vital Legs. They know they smoked.
CGY. Gonna go for the long wraparound. Roche is up. VT faded. It's already starting. They're gonna smoke once again. They've got another really good ward to the north. Lacrity's gonna be underneath vision now. All eyes on GY and how he can start the fight.
Jokem do it again. He's getting
look at the angle they've got. It might catch them off guard, actually. Yorkham's in an exceptional position. They're going to look to split them up. Radiant to the right.
It's just ring around the rosy right now. Just completely shifting positions to the other side of the map.
Another smoke. I mean, this game's... Oh, not a DD by the Roche Pit. Come on, Gavin. Well, this is the pivotal moment for this game. You see how everyone's using these smokes to get the positioning. Yokem is going to look to jump. They haven't seen the Shadow Demon, so they want the Tide instead to get rid of the Ravage, but Juggernaut needs some assistance. The burst damage might be enough to bring him down. VT faded. An opportunity for the Omni Slash will give him time to get the Blade Fury out, but Alacrity going to try and hunt him down. A Remnant over the tree line. He's got the follow-up afterwards thanks to the Aghanims, and there's no buyback. They can look to target down Yif afterwards as well, but simultaneously, they've lost the Luna. It doesn't look like it's going to matter though. They're jumping Citrus. There's menu ping. Ravage on 3, clipping the Ember so he can't get to safety, but TA's been caught out. Polison's jumped in, getting rid of the damage follow-up. Mizu's got the extra control and they've lost the TA. Now Radiant, how they've been able to reposition around the Roche Pit. They can look to chase down a 4th. I mean, if he just brought back to provide any assistance, they're targeting GY as well by the secret shop. NGX somehow, someway. Teamfight execution seems to be on point like we always see with these lineups, and they'll make it a 5th.
Mizu, Yokem, Polison, take a bow. Like, you could not ask more from these supporting trio. Because, you know, Mizu, as much as he likes to be greedy, he is supporting in a lot of these fights. But what a great initiation. My game nearly crashed because of how many illusions were being made at the exact time. They were able to get all of that burst damage in onto the Juggernaut. You have to such a heavy save to commit an Omni Slash purely for survivability as opposed to any kind of damage potential. And with that as well, the Luna's going to spawn. Come into this Roche. I said they were a horrible Roche taking lineup, but if you get to this stage and you've got the time and space to do it without fear, you can still take it quite nicely, and this is going to be big. I assume it's going to be In Your Dream taking it. A lot of times you still do give it over to the mid laner, but he is still going to be the one taking his objectives, so he needs to put himself in that riskier position on the front lines and run the risk of dying once, just to make sure that they can secure more map control for themselves.
I think it's big, though, that you also get the shard over to Alacrity, because he's got Ag's Quickening Charm. I think Shiva's just completed, really survivable, and we've seen them be able to blow up heroes and then play around with these remnants. Just you're playing with his food, quick in and out, trying to cancel blinks, provide the vision, put Ragdoll in a position where they're not the ones starting.
I actually really like the Lincolns as well on the Ember Spirit. He's got it queued up next, and I mean, you're not going to use Disruption aggressively, considering, you know, what you're coming up against. Omni Slash, Demonic Purge. That's the only other ways that you have to be able to get through it. So I feel like he's going to feel very safe coming up against the Shadow Demon as long as he finishes up that Lincoln Sphere. He's going to have the Ion Shell on himself. He's going to have that big Flame Guard, able to just consistently deal a lot of burst damage. I want to see him hit level 25.
Moving forward. They're going to see VT faded. He's actually going to blink in straight on top of the Luna. This is a good start to the fight if you're Dire, but you still have to go up against the Aegis advantage. They'll turn down menu ping. Citrus is an X on the agenda. A beautiful use of the chain control thanks to the hookshot means they won't have a Templar Assassin for the team fight, and they're not done just yet. GY out to safety. Who else can they catch out? It looks like it'll just be the easier target with Yif under the tier 2.
Alacrity just got, I think the Ravage actually ended up killing the small cam, which gave him the extra 5 experience he needed to hit level 25. So he had the extra slide of fist charges, the extra burst damage that they needed, and the big thing there for Ragdoll, they didn't even get the Aegis away from this Luna. So now you can still feel relatively confident even without the Satanic. Like, even if you die now, you're feeling pretty confident, right? Because they used a lot of ultimates in that team fight without succeeding. At least if you take away the Aegis, you probably think twice about wanting to go up onto this high ground, but they just weren't able to get that last little bit of damage.
And as soon as you lose the tier 3 tower, it's just so difficult to get in a position to defend. Full set taken. A lot of objective damage and the economic damage as well. 16,000 net worth lead for Nigma.SEA, who are 1 game behind in this best of 3, the qualifier series to make it into Division 1 for the next tour.
This is what we were hoping for. It's shaping up potentially for a Game 3 coming through here. Some of the great play coming through from Nigma.SEA. Again, these clutch situations, backs against the wall, they always seem to be able to pull it out. And, well, even now with this Aeon Disc now picked up on the line, you're going to have that turnaround potential. Menu Ping has been great with these Blink Ravages, but you're going to have that potential to be able to burst out of it and get some of that counter.
BT faded. An aggressive blink on Polison. He'll force the Aeon. It looks like he's happy with that, but now with the Ember, might be chain controlled. They're around the wall to play with, but there's no extra follow-up. Dire playing super passive. They've still got a minute 35 left on the Aegis as well. Sieging higher ground. Do you do it knowing Rolling Thunder is on cooldown?
Absolutely. I would, personally. Just put myself up there on the front lines. You don't... Well, you have your Aghanim Scepter actually on the Ember Spirit, so yeah, he's...
It's all on the tide, but Yokam, they recognize the importance of the Ravage, knowing the Rolling Thunder's on cooldown, so they'll get rid of menu ping. Now the objectives are that much easier to claim. BT Fade is going to try and jump in, get rid of the Clockwork. A 1-for-1, and that will push back Nigma.SEA for the moment, but Mizu... He's waiting. He's trying to find that angle on the Darkseid. Always ready. Refresher as well picked up.
Oh, Mizu, you can't keep doing this, man. Every single time.
I mean, he's third in net worth, man. Like, how? It just feels like they get difficult lanes for the Darkseid to play into, but somehow Mizu, he always finds his farm on this hero.
They do treat him a lot like a position 1, don't they?
That's very true.
Making sure, giving him a ton of that farm in your dream, obviously having to be a little bit more of that elusive style. And a big part of it is kind of similar to, you know, the OG of old with how Topson just consistently kept running at people. You trust Alacrity to do well in his lane and then continuously run at the enemy team. And I feel like that's what he did really effectively this game, so that, yeah, quote-unquote, the real carries in your dream and Mizu are able to just farm up, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I think Nigma.SEA are in the position they're in because of Alacrity. Him having a comfort hero in a match where there's not a whole lot of counters. Like, yes, you're going against the Pango that might chain control you and the Shadow Demon Purge, but we saw how he was playing before he was really under any threat, like consistently having this mid lane shoved in, which also then prevented Ragdoll from getting an early tier 1 tower mid to then infiltrate aggressively to maybe get kills on Mizu or get kills on In Your Dream.
So Ragdoll, their main concern right now is, of course, just protecting their high ground, but they want to make sure that they're able to get this Aghanim Scepter up on the Shadow Demon. That's the next big key timing for them. Aether Lens, of course, it's the first item that he had completed for stuff. Now he's able to survive against this Clockwork. Maybe, maybe not, right? He's got the Aghanim Scepter on Jokam with, again, fantastic plays coming through from him. So it's going to be a whole lot harder for you to be able to survive. But yeah, you get that Aghanims on the Shadow Demon, you're able to break the Lincoln Sphere. You're able to use the Demonic Purge onto some of these other heroes, like make sure that the Satanic isn't going to be quite as effective. Hell, even just remove a lot of Darkseer's movement in a lot of these team fights because of the use of the Surge.
Who is that valuable target that Ragdoll need to bring down to start the fight? Is there one person they're really aiming for that could turn these fights around?
It's got to be Mizu, right? It feels like, as good as the support duo have been on Nigma Galaxy, he is the one that they're needing to fight around a lot. And for Ragdoll, it feels like it's menu ping, right? Like, even though you're a position 5, you're fulfilling such a key role in that AoE lockdown, and it's going to be even more effective considering as of this point in time, there's only 2 BKBs out right now for Nigma Galaxy. It's on the Luna, it's on the Darkseer. But Clockwork, he's getting a lot closer to building up into his own.
I think this is something we've seen as well through a lot of games where the OD, Shadow Demon, Bane's been a factor where you have this capability for anyone to get jumped. You just put them under, you reposition, it really disrupts the enemy team's way to start the fight. And Radiant don't have that. So if Mizu does get jumped, you're going to be relying on then the counter initiation instead of this like defensive factor like in the banishment. So we'll see how they can... Paulison, exceptional positioning, instant blink away and smokes towards it. They do pop the Aeon, so small victories. VT Fed, it's going to hunt on for more, but Jokam puts that to a stop, and now Alacrity is going to follow up as well. They've dropped the wall, they've got the burst. A great use of the banishment will give VT Fed an opportunity to use the Omni Slash, but there's just so many heroes, so many illusions that the damage is lacking, and now they can follow up for more. It's all Nigma Galaxy.SEA in this skirmish, in this game. 4 down, make it a 5th. We might just be going the distance here. They've got the buyback spot. They are so far behind.
Please accept my deep regrets. I'll not fail you again. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It's the thing that's able to get through that spell immunity, and time after time he's just able to land it onto these key targets right before they're trying to do something big in the team fight, and that time around it was saving policy.
They're trying to hold this Juggernaut buyback.
Good luck with a Luna in your base.
Yeah, like, there's no way. It's either mega creeps, if that's what you're gonna do, to keep VT Faded having this. You see, that's the consequence. Last set of barracks now exposed. There'll be no answer. GY maybe will look to make some space. They're actually gonna respect them a little bit here on Radiant.
That's a classic C fake back.
But it is at the moment. But they don't have the Clockwork for these BKB piercing, so GY is doing a good job to disrupt. There's the VT Faded buyback, but... oh, they get... what a stun timing! Paulson instantly after the blink, and now with the Juggernaut, he's not really in fighting shape. Instantly forced back to safety. But I mean... oh, you held the buyback for that?
Yeah, it's a bit rough, and just with the illusions, they're looking to try and finish this base off, doing their best to try and stop him, and the TA, it's not going to quite be able to do it. One thing that I really liked about what they did in that team fight is they made Pango play uber defensively just by consistently spamming out things like the Luna Lucent Beam with the Shard, as well as the Sleight of Fist onto the Pango, because he's feeling like, oh, I'm spell immune. They have no real easy way to be able to stop me, so I'm going to be able to get a Blink Dagger off right towards the end. But he was panicking a little bit because they made sure that they kept attacking him, put that Blink Dagger on cooldown, and it meant that GY probably didn't have the impact in that team fight that he was hoping for.
GY might go down now too. This lane ward scouting out the position from the Pain Go, overclocking use means the chain control is on point. No Pain Go for 110 seconds, and Nigma.SEA can now look to walk it down the last lane.
Now this may be me being a support simp, but that was the ward that set that up from Polison, and that was the initiation from Yokam that set that one up. So just another one of these games where Polison, Yokam, that great support duo, is going to be able to pull one out, and they're going to be seeing a game 3. Lucky, I don't think they can pull this one back.
I don't think they can either. Yokam just looking to make the space. It'll cost him his life, but what's the price to pay for Dire? Tier 4 downs, wall inside your fountain. Miz is going to refresh as well. We're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. It's only worth it for us. The deciding match to see who's going to move on to Division 1 for the next tour.
Even sure, he dies, but you use Demonic Purge on him, so it meant that you're able to just continuously run forward on the Ember Spirit, just consistently deal all that damage coming through with not a worry in the world. So hard to give MVP to anyone, to be honest. This is going to be such a meme. Anyone but In Your Dream, I would give MVP to, just because probably he gave up first blood, I believe, and you know, there was a lot of space that the rest of the team had to make for him to fulfill his role. But once he got to that stage, he still did do his job. It's just that there were such standout performances from the other 4 that it's hard to say.
100% giving it to Alacrity. There's no doubt in my mind that I think Alacrity deserves it this game. Like you said, you could argue everyone, but for me, I just don't think this would have been a game where Mizu would have had the space, where In Your Dream would have had the space if Alacrity wasn't on this hero. Like, this is... Are we going to say this is his best hero? Like, I think it is. Are you going to mirror that?
That or the puck, yeah.
Yeah, I think with what he was able to do this game, just the consistent pushing of the tier 1 mid and just making sure he was biting off almost more than he could chew, just almost. They had difficult ways to find that jump. They weren't able to do it, and just with the space that he was able to provide, it enabled Nigma.SEA to get these items. They're able to find that comeback, and I mean, again, it's what we're looking for. Game 3 with so much on the line here. We're going to be going the distance, and I mean, Danog as well. We're both even too. So we're now 1 game away. We've both got 1 more game for the tour, and these boys 1 more game as well to determine what's going to happen. We'll see you guys shortly after the break.